All right, we know that energy matters, mood matters, what vibe you're delivering. We've been talking about the last few weeks. Getting that energy in the room. Are your things you're doing during your persuasion influence, your close that is causing resistance? Let's continue on that vibe. Make things happen, because you'll be amazed what the science says about mood, triggering mood, and even when you're in a bad mood. Things matter. Let's do it.
Maximize your influence. Kurt Mortensen is the author of Persuasion IQ, Laws of Charisma, and the best-selling book, Maximum Influence.
Glad to have you here. Podcast 567. Maximize your influence, where we take that dive on the skills that they just don't teach you, that maybe sometimes don't even make sense, but the reality, it's all based on science, and help us understand why your prospects do what they do. It's all about the little things. Adapt this, adjust this. If every podcast you improve your persuasion influence by 1-2%, imagine what's going to happen at the end of the year. Because sometimes we get so rushed, we work on the logic, we data dump, we give them the 17 logical reasons they should do it. Just part of the persuasion process. You've got to combine that emotional subconscious brain and the logical side. So let's roll it with the persuasion blunder.
Don't!
And I'll add a little ninja to this. It's interesting how often this happens. All right. Checking in at a hotel, right? Do it all the time. Probably done it thousands of times. And it's interesting, got to the hotel, no parking. Had to ask somebody where to park because it wasn't obvious. Okay, strike one. And it was a little late at night. No one was at the desk. And I did ring the little bell. They still have those. And someone came back, looked a little perturbed, no smile. I don't know if I woke them up or not. And gave them the ID, gave them credit card, couldn't find the reservation, kept looking, realized they were spelling my name wrong. That was printed on my ID, and I had reserved a king-size bed, and they didn't have any. We almost went back to that Seinfeld thing. No, I have a reservation. This is what I ordered. And they run out of rental cars. They run out of king-size beds. Not sure how that system works. And strike two, strike three, strike four. That is the blunder. Now, is it okay to make a mistake? It is, but here's the thing I want to point out. We'll be talking about this today. If the first 1, 2, 3, 4 things go wrong at the hotel, human nature is you spend the rest of the time at the hotel looking for things that are wrong. With the service, with the smile, with the food, with the room. So it's critical, especially those in the service business, that you have to do the first couple things right. So let me compare that to another experience. Went back to another hotel, and there it was. A welcome smile, somebody at the front desk. Ample parking. They gave me a bottle of water on check-in, and then let me know there's no king-size beds. Same problem, but I had a different reaction. Because they said, you know what, we'll take care of you. We're going to upgrade you to a bigger, better room. It has 2 beds, but no king-size bed, and we'll double your points. Is that okay? Same problem, no king-size bed, but the first 2 or 3 things went right. And now it didn't seem to be that big of deal. Now this could be the ordering process. This could be your first impression. And hopefully that's the only mistake, not a series of mistakes. So that's our persuasion blunder / ninja. Let's slide into our geeky Scarly article. And this goes to the little things. We've talked about environment. We talked about your presence. We're going to get in mood today, why mood matters. This is done at Yale University and published in the Journal of Science. So basically, our judgment of a person's character can be influenced by something as simple as the warmth of the drink we hold in our hand. You're like, what? So again, this is at Yale, the Journal of Science. They did research, and it showed people judge others to be more generous and caring if they were asked to hold a warm cup of coffee, and they were judged less caring if they held a cup of iced coffee. So basically, they would approach people and say, hey, we do a quick survey. half the people were asked, hey, can you hold my drink? And they were given hot coffee. And the other half, same thing, do a survey, hold my drink. It was iced coffee, and you could feel it through the cup. Then after that, they were asked to assess the interviewer, the person asked the questions, on their personality traits. And the ones holding the hot coffee were rated warmer than the ones holding the iced cup of coffee. Now, the second part of the study, the participants either held heated therapeutic packs or frozen therapeutic packs as part of the study. And then they were told they could receive a gift certificate for a friend or one for themselves. The ones that held the hot pack were more likely to give the gift certificate to a friend, but the frozen one, the cold one, most of them decided to keep it for themselves. So it appears that the effect of physical temperature is not just how we see others, it affects our own behavior. Physical warmth can make us see others as warmer people and cause us to be warmer inside or more generous, trusting, and giving. So there you have it. Hot versus cold. Think twice about the beverage you are going to give somebody. And on the side note, we talked about this a few months ago, the old job interview technique where they offer you a beverage and you drink it. If you don't put it away, take it to the kitchen, take it to the break room, you're off the list. But that's been out there for people doing job interviews just to see the type of person you are. So, hey, make sure it's a warm drink. If you receive it, make sure you put it away. Which takes us to our email.
Oh, boy!
Again, remember, anything I use on the podcast, from humor to studies to questions, freeinfluenceuniversity.com. In fact, let's make that our special, influenceuniversity.com/special lifetime membership, 90% off. Check it out. 52-week program, advanced techniques, the tools, the archives, the books, everything in one place to become a power persuader. All the links, everything else we've been talking about is at maximizeyourinfluence.com. Also the home of your free Persuasion IQ assessment. This comes from Carla. Kurt, love the podcast. I am maximizing my influence. You've been talking about energy on the podcast. What about mood? What about time of day? Is there a best time to contact? How can I optimize the few hours during the day that I have? All right, Carla from Canada, I feel you. There's not always a lot of hours of the day. We have to maximize those hours. And we did talk a few weeks ago about time of day. Afternoons before lunch, Wednesdays or Thursdays is usually better for cold calls. Best time to contact as soon as possible. But then there's mood. First of all, let's take care of your mood. I've talked about your state. When you feel influential, you are more influential. And you really can't persuade in a bad mood and put on that fake smile. They're not going to think, oh yeah, they just had a fight, they're in a bad mood. They just feel something's not right. So you have to be in the right state. I mean, the science is clear. When someone's in a bad mood, they recall bad things, why they don't like you, why it's not going to work out. They think smaller. When people are in a good mood, they think why they like you, your past victories, why it should work. So if you're going to a meeting and they're in a bad mood, I'd reschedule, or if you can't do that, get them in a better mood. So let's talk about ways to do that. But before we do, let's take a deeper dive in the science here, because mood significantly impacts influence because it shapes how people process information, make decisions, and interact socially. Did you catch that? It shapes how we process information, make decisions, and interact socially. So first of all, there's the mental or cognitive processing. When people are in a positive mood, they think better, they think bigger, they're more receptive to new ideas, and more open to your persuasive argument. This is the research from Dr. Fredrickson, the broaden and build theory. Basically, positive emotions, positive mood, encourage creativity, collaboration, versus when you're in a negative mood, it narrows your focus, you're looking for what's wrong, you become more resistant and more skeptical. Then we talked about a few weeks ago that emotions are contagious. We have these mirror neurons where we tend to mimic others, their moods, their emotions, their attitudes. And when someone's optimistic or in a positive mood, they can transfer those feelings to the other person, which increases trust, and they become more open and more willing to listen to you. makes your prospect or customer feel more comfortable, and increases your chance of influence. You need more? Positive moods activate the brain's reward system, that old dopamine we've talked about, making people more risk tolerant, which helps them make decisions and agree to proposals. In fact, in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, they found people in good moods were more likely to say yes and comply with requests. So again, a positive mood that they have or that you're transferring or you get them into, people view your message more favorably, are more open to say yes, will like you better, will trust you more, and the complete opposite, a negative mood, leads to smaller thinking, critical thinking, defensive response, resistance, and ultimately the no. So now you know the importance and the why. Let's talk about the how. So reviewing from a couple weeks ago, creating that positive environment. The temperature of the room. The temperature should be below the radar. The higher the ceilings, the more comfortable people feel, the fewer the distractions. Adding music is all part of the environment. You know that. So if you're in a dingy, dark, no window, low ceiling room, you've been there before. It's just like, that's a scientific term. It's just something's not right, can put you in a bad mood. You've been there before. And I'd also add the background for any virtual meeting. Now, virtual meetings, I switch it up. Sometimes I'll put my company logo on the back. Sometimes I'll have a library in the back. Sometimes I'll do a whiteboard. I even have a beach scene, depending on the mood, who I'm talking to, and of course, what I'm talking about. Now, if you're in customer service, you're going to start with someone with a bad mood. For the most part, most of the calls you deal with are negative, and you've got to switch them around. Now, you don't want to start off too happy or in a bubbly mood when someone's in a bad mood. You might want to just kind of mirror them a little bit and bring them up. I'm just saying don't start the persuasion process till you've switched them a few notches up from bad mood to at least medium mood so they can at least listen and accept your message. Because think about it. You're calling, you're upset about the product didn't work, you want your money back, you're just livid, and they're playing that happy music that could make it worse. Or they answer the phone, "It's a great day, so glad you called, you're so important to us." So in those situations, do be careful. Another thing you can do, so simple and cost you, calculator, nothing. Offer genuine compliments, praise. The science shows compliments trigger, there it is again, dopamine, which boosts self-esteem and increases mood. You did awesome on your presentation. You did your research. How did you do that so fast? We couldn't have done this without you. Makes them feel valued. Now, the key to praise, make sure it's sincere. That's a given. Make sure it's positive. Otherwise, it's sarcasm. "Hey, you still work here? I thought you'd be fired for now. Good for you still working here. Uncle Frank's still alive with all the bacon you eat. Good for you still breathing." You don't want to cross that line. Sincere, positive, and the most important thing, specific. "Good job today." Okay, I'll take that. What does that really mean? No. The way you handled Mr. Jones when they are upset and you turned them around, that was textbook. Everybody should listen to it. Good job. That's what you're looking for. So simple, and again, cost you nothing. And I'll put money on it, you're probably not praising enough. It's very, very rare. Another one you hear quite a bit on the podcast, use humor. And at least for yourself, watch things that are funny. It puts you in a better mood, recharges your willpower battery, makes you live longer, changes your health. So that's for you, but when you use it with a client or a prospect, it reduces cortisol, that's the stress hormone, increases endorphins, and again, puts them in a better mood. So you can add humor, a YouTube video, a meme, a relevant joke. Did you hear about the restaurant they opened on the moon? Did you hear about that one? Great food, just no atmosphere. And that was the first one that came to me, but you can do better than that. Even if it's a bad dad joke, the smile, the tilting of the head, the laughter, the inside can still work. So in tense situations, be careful, but it can ease the atmosphere, change the mood, make the customer more relaxed and more open to your proposal. And another one a lot of people don't think about is physical movement. I mean, if their arms are folded, they're giving you the RBF, the squinty eyes, their legs are together, that can affect mood. So get them to do something. Take a break, physical activity, go for a walk in the sun, get some fresh air, get those endorphins released. Can improve mood. Maybe you need more breaks. Maybe you need to hand them something so they can open up their folded arms, have them stand up, have them participate. Again, depends on the situation, the personality, the topic. So physical movement does make a big difference. And that's your cue. You need to have that open body language. You need to have that smile. Your feet need to be pointed towards them. Your chest should be pointed towards them. If they're not reciprocating, back up a little bit, find out what's really going on. And so it's not only their physical movement, but it's also your physical movement. And when in doubt, our all-time favorite, the persuasion tool, the persuasion technique that persuades under the radar, stories. Stories persuade without detection. Now, you don't want to tell a depressing, nobody wins type stories. We've seen enough movies like that. But an uplifting, motivational story. Talk about a client who used your product, your service, saw 30% growth. Watching some of the classic motivational stories if it's your team. Miracle on Ice, Apollo 13, Rudy, Winston Churchill. We go down the list. You probably have your faves. If not, you can find them. If you're not feeling motivational, maybe find someone else who can, or find a video or a movie clip that is motivational. So inspiring stories, motivational stories can make a huge difference to change their mood. And final one, careful of your language. Follow the law of verbal packaging and maximum influence. There might be words that trigger bad moods. There might be words that you're not allowed to use you didn't know about. There might be words in the industry that take people down the wrong mental path and could put them in a bad mood. I don't know, that's going to be tough versus this could be a great opportunity. If you're in customer service, saying good luck with that, maybe not, versus all right, let's get this sorted out. Let's fix this as quick as we can make a difference in the mood you're triggering. So some other important things to understand with this is the context, the situation, the problem, their personality. All these things are going to matter. So you want to tailor these techniques to the individual, to the situation, to their personality. I mean, if they're in a really bad mood, starting with humor may not be the best thing. If you're in a formal boardroom with all the C-suite type people, you might want to wait on the humor, use that more for the casual settings. So read the room, read the situation, decide if it's time to reschedule, especially in a negotiation. Decide if you need to take a break, go for a walk, get some sunshine, get some food. Could all change and adjust mood. And then your job, if you can't reschedule or take a break, is to slowly build their mood with the techniques I talked about. So look at the context. The second thing to take a look at is be authentic. If you're being insincere, that can backfire, that can reduce your trust. So make sure your actions, your body language align with your intent. Being authentic, being real, being genuine. They can feel that you truly care, that you have empathy for their situation, and watch them diffuse as they get it out in the open. And then take a look at culture. You have to be sensitive. There are cultural norms. Some of your gestures, some of your humor, the amount of eye contact, how soon you launch into your presentation can all be perceived differently across cultures. Follow their lead, follow their cue. If you're not quite sure, do a little research. There are plenty of websites on the internet that'll tell you about culture and do's and don'ts. So there you have it. Apply these tools, apply these techniques. And first of all, start with your mood, your state. You can't be persuasive if you're not feeling persuasive. And then be sensitive to their mood. Remember, positive mood lowers their resistance, increases your likability and improves rapport, releases the right chemicals in the brain to get them ready for persuasion and influence, and makes it easier for them to trust you, be motivated to change, and say yes. There you have it. That's podcast 567. Take something you learned today, apply it, use it, master it, make a difference, put it in your persuasion toolbox. That's the key. That's what we're working on. So if you're interested in the specials, you're interested in additional information, go to the website, maximizeyourinfluence.com, click on podcast 567, or just take a look at your email. Or if you're not on the email list, register for our email list at the same website. Learn it, apply it, become a better negotiator, a better leader, a better presenter, a better influencer, a better mood master, and go out and persuade with power.